What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill, considering the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today I kind of wanted to do this thing here because, well, it's been a rough day here, and I like working and I like talking about this thing called sports, and I want to talk a little bit about Ohio State Michigan because I realized it is Wednesday, and I have yet to say anything about Ohio State Michigan. I'm going to get to that. I also want to get to why don't nobody want Clemson. As much as y'all talk shade about what Clemson has been doing and who they've been playing, Dabo Swinney. There are people dinging me in the comments for saying it wrong. Coach Swinney has been saying, hey, look, our schedule's our schedule and we get it, but like we hear it all the time, and what do we do but run people? And they do run people. I also want to get to this. You won't believe who's got the best odds to be the next head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, Jason Garrett still got that job, but we all think that he's skating on thin ice, but he could end up like Clay Helton, which we'll also get to. And of course, I think there's a road for Chase Young to win the Heisman. But if you're in this chat and you are here live, I sincerely appreciate you. If you're watching this on the replay, that's on you, dog. So for the folks that just decided to show up this one time while I was doing stuff, I appreciate that because I didn't tell a whole lot of people that I was just going to sit here and do this. But I want to talk about Ohio State and Michigan to start here because we're talking about number 2 Ohio State taking on number 10 Michigan, 9-2, 11-0 at the Big House. Now, the thing that I kind of think we lose sight of in all of this is that Michigan leads this series. It's 58-51-6, but there's a lot more at stake than just college football playoff implications, but that is the headline here because in the world in which the Big Ten West lives in, or anybody that doesn't like Ohio State, Michigan wins this game, and then Ohio State loses the Big Ten championship to Wisconsin or Minnesota, which could be either or, honestly. But will it really matter? Because this Ohio State football team is the best one that we've seen in some time, or we think we've seen in some time. Because I think last year's Clemson team has a great argument for one of the best college football teams of all time for the way that they ran the table. Forget what their regular season schedule was. We all thought that they were soft. Then they showed up and they beat the brakes off of Notre Dame and then handed Alabama its head. An Alabama program that had won 5 of the last 10 national championship games played. It is Nick Saban's world, and we're just living in it, except when we're talking about Swinney and Clemson and what they've been able to do as of late. Because since mollywhopping my Sooners in the Russell Athletic Bowl, 40-6. Man, Trevor Knight was 17-37 for 103 in that game, and I remember that game because I got fired just after it in my first full-time gig in this job. Clemson's been on a roll, man. They've been running through people from Taj Boyd to Deshaun Watson to Kelly Bryant and now Sunshine, Ronnie Bass, Trevor Lawrence out there. They are trucking people. But is this Michigan team on a run? Won 4 of the last games that they played, and we've seen, all right, this is how far behind modern football Michigan had been. Kind of like LSU and its discovery of the forward pass. Shea Patterson became the first player to throw 5 touchdown passes in the same amount of time. Like, it's actually fascinating because I want to make sure I get this one right. He's thrown 9 touchdown passes in the past 2 weeks, becoming the first quarterback in school history with 5 touchdown passes in regulation. That's old hat at Oklahoma. That's just what you do at Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, we got LSU fans all up in their bag right now because Joe Burrow is breaking all of their passing records. Yeah, man, it wasn't that long ago that Blake Sims was breaking passing records at Alabama because Nick Saban needed to force that program into the second generation of modern football. Because we'll remember that Bear Bryant had to get his group of, unintegrated players, to put it lightly, beat to hell before he started winning national championships again because he integrated. But since desegregation, I mean, it's really been about, can your quarterback ball? And that tells you how far Alabama's come, because we're all thinking about Blake Sims as a guy who wouldn't start at Alabama right now, right? Because Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, on and on. And we're thinking about what Greg McElroy is, or was, I should say, back when he's wearing number 12 for Alabama, and how he wouldn't start at Alabama right now. And I'm thinking about Shea Patterson and what he was at Ole Miss, and that was one of the reasons people were really excited about him in Michigan, because there was a time in which Folks thought that Shea Patterson was going to do for Michigan what Justin Fields has done at Ohio State. Not to say that Justin Fields is the same caliber of football player that Shea Patterson is. He's better. I am saying that we all thought that Shea Patterson was going to be something of a change agent, and the folks at Ole Miss were like, you can have him. He ain't really that great. And then we saw Tom Mars usher in this waiver request era that was short-lived, where he got Shea Patterson and a couple other players eligible to play at Michigan. But we're also talking about a Michigan squad that has never beaten Ohio State with Jim Harbaugh as head coach in a time in which Jim Harbaugh ain't been bad, right? Because we were all thinking that Michigan is right where Michigan needs to be, and they've beaten everybody that they should beat. And they honestly handed Notre Dame their skull. You remember this? Like they took 2 fingers and dug them into the eyeballs and ripped them out. That's been the Michigan that we have seen at its peak. But is it good enough to beat Ohio State? It wasn't when Urban Meyer was there, and at least when Jim Harbaugh, because he didn't get it done. And now it seems that Ryan Day has inherited his own version of the Power Rangers, man. Because when they assemble together, he's undefeated as a head coach. And his offense is just humming. And you know with J.K. Dobbins, they can run the football. And when he gets stunted, you know that Justin Fields can pull it out of his gut and he can take off running. And say nothing of what Chris Olave and Austin Mack and Benjamin Victor, when he ain't dropping the easy ones, will make the hard catches. And KJ Hill is a playmaker. We know about the offense, and we know about Don Brown and that Michigan defense. Shout out to the Hill boys. My man, Dax Hill out of Booker T. Washington in my hometown. He's going to be showing out there for years to come. But even if Michigan's defense can do something with Ohio State's offense, even if they can be on the field for the same kind of turnovers, delicious as they are, that Ohio State was able to gift to Penn State to get them back in the ballgame, I'm not certain that Michigan's offense can do anything with Ohio State's defense. Now, we could talk about Jeff Okudah, who is a Jim Thorpe Award finalist, for which I am on the selection committee. I'm a sitting member, and I was very excited to have that guy be honored as one of the finalists for the award, and that's going to be out for vote. But we could talk about Jordan Fuller, who's also on the back end, who's been doing outstanding work. He dropped an interception against Penn State that I thought he should have came down with. We could talk about Baron Browning and how he is a preternatural talent. Check this out. Baron Browning ran a faster 100 meters in high school than Jerry Jeudy. Now, the caveat there is Jerry Jeudy ran his 100 meters when he was a freshman in high school, and Baron Browning ran his when he was a senior in high school. But Baron Browning was already over 225 and going sub 11 in the 100-meter dash. Baron Browning can move, man. We can talk about Tuff Borland, and we can talk about whether or not Jonathan Cooper is going to play in the Michigan game, which I think he is, and then he's going to redshirt, say nothing to Sax Harrison. But the prize is Chase Young, man. That dude has been a monster, and I made sure to write this down, make sure I get this right, because I want to get just how correctly a monster he's been just in the last few weeks. So, Chase Young, 7 sacks, 4 forced fumbles in his last 2 games against Penn State and Wisconsin. He ain't what you want, man. That's the predator coming off the edge over there, y'all, dog. You don't want him. Like, you're not... I love this. So, Dennis Dodd got to ask James Franklin straight up, what are you going to do about Chase Young? I mean, you going to stop him? And Franklin just kind of rolled his eyes and threw his head back. It's like, we're not stopping him. Nobody's stopping him. You can only hope he doesn't destroy you. Like, no, we're going to chip. We're going to do whatever we can. But we're not going to stop him. He's going to be in the backfield. And that is unheard of for a head coach to just kind of admit, we don't have an answer for that guy. And to be fair, who does, man? He is actual alien out there. And if he doesn't go number 1, somebody's going to hate themselves for not getting him at number 1 and going to get, I don't know, Tua and his bad hip or Joe Burrow and his one good year. You want this edge rusher. You want this guy that is terrorizing every opposing offensive tackle in football. Nobody can stop him. Can't contain him. You just hope that he stops himself. But even if he did, Ohio State's entire defense is that good. We're talking about a defense that has given up 3 200-yard passing games all season and just 6 passing touchdowns. They do not let you score. I mean, this is one of the best scoring defenses in all of football. And they are not just beating people, they are snatching their souls. They are making like Shane Sung at the bottom. Look, it's also really interesting to note that the Buckeyes have their longest winning streak in this game series of 115 games, right? That runs 7 games. They can exceed that, right? They're at 7 games right now. 2004, 2010, they won 7 straight. They can win 8 straight against Michigan and 4 straight this season. 6 of the 7 since getting routed by the Badgers is what the Michigan Wolverines have done. But Ohio State, and I find this one just ridiculous. Since getting thumped, right, way back when, 49-20, don't get dropped by Purdue, don't get dropped by 30 by Purdue. Remember that? Since then, they're 17-0. Think about that. They're 17-0. That's not how that's supposed to work. Like that ain't where it's supposed to be. Now that when you think about what Clemson has done, right? Because we're talking about a Clemson team that I believe is 26-0 over its last 26 games. So it ain't completely out of there. But also we have some bad blood in this, and not just the game kind, not just the we hate Michigan and we hate Ohio State kind. We have the kind in which Ryan Day went into Jim Harbaugh's coaching office and took out 2 dudes, not 1, 2, right? I mean, we're talking about guys, goodness me, Ohio State defensive coordinator Greg Madison and linebackers coach Al Washington were hired away from Harbaugh's staff on consecutive days last winter. Michigan has scored 38-plus points in the past 4 games. I don't think they're going to do that this year. But if they did, you would expect them to win this game, right? You would expect if Michigan could put up 38 on Ohio State, that means that they did something to stop them. But that's not necessarily true because they put up 76 on Miami of Ohio earlier this year, and Miami of Ohio is a really good football team. Like they're legit. Like they're good. They're not great, but they're good. Everybody that Michigan, everybody that Ohio State has played is good. Like Florida Atlantic is competing for a Conference USA championship, right? They're in the mix. Miami of Ohio competing for a MAC championship, in the mix. Cincinnati, they thumped Cincinnati 42-0. Cincinnati's got 1 loss this year. 1. And it's to the number 1 team in the country. But if you're Michigan, you want this game. You want this game in the worst way. You think that you're going to be able to just destroy people. You think that you're going to come in here, you're going to get Charbonnet right, you're going to get Shea Patterson right, you're going to get production out of Tariq Black, you're going to get the production out of Ronnie Bell, you're going to get production out of Donovan Peoples-Jones. You hope. What's the offensive line going to do? Because Josh Gaddis, it's one thing for you to go and beat up on Mike Loxley, because who hadn't beat up on Mike Loxley? But it's another thing entirely for you to go at Jeff Hafley's defense. Oh man, this could get ugly in a hurry. And if it does, are we not talking about Jim Harbaugh getting soul snatched and maybe his will to coach college football is just broken? Are we not talking about Jim Harbaugh perhaps just folding it up and saying, I'm not the guy at Michigan, let me get back into the NFL? Because I think that's what we're looking at. I think he can't afford to lose this game. Because it ain't going to matter that he put together a pretty outstanding season. It's only going to matter that he lost to Ohio State, he didn't get to play for a Big Ten championship, and he's playing in yet another also-ran bowl. That's what's going to matter to people. Certainly what's going to matter to folks that wear the maize and blue. You know, one of my coworkers at my show, at the Sports Animal, RJ Young show, my man Patrick, he's a huge Michigan fan. And he knows what they're up against now. He thinks that the elements are going to help him, but he also says all the elements, they just help Ohio State because they can run the ball and they can play defense. So maybe J.K. Dobbins doesn't bust you for 36 and 157, but I doubt it. You know, maybe Chris Olave and KJ Hill and Austin Mack and Benjamin Victor just ain't there with it. Maybe Garrett Wilson just doesn't want to show up to play. Maybe Justin Fields, just doesn't want to get it done. But I doubt it because they know what's at stake here, man. It's not just Michigan that they get to beat down, although that's enough. It's college football history that they get to play for. They get an opportunity to run the table 15-0. And they get to do it perhaps, we hope, maybe, over the top of Clemson's dead body. No matter what you get, I think Ohio State Clemson is going to be the national championship game, and I think either one of them can go and beat somebody down. And I want to get into Clemson. I want to get into another coaching bit. First, I want to check the chat.